Vivimos en un mundo cada vez más volátil, incierto, complejo y ambiguo.
La ropa no me sirve.
Siempre planifico y nunca me salen las cosas. Estoy cansado.
Un mundo en el que muchos viven desde la excusa, la queja y la no aceptación.
Estoy muy desordenado.
Necesito botox. No soporto a mi jefe.
Estoy demasiado deprimido.
Para que no te vuelvas loco, aquí reprogramamos tu coco. Inteligencia emocional, psicología positiva. Todas las herramientas que necesitas para convertirte en un demente positivo.
Demente Positivo, el programa de Ismael Cala.
Hola, hola, gracias por estar de regreso a otro episodio de estreno de Demente Positivo. Hoy tenemos una grandiosa conversación con uno de mis mentores, a quien hoy puedo llamar amigo, y que tiene publicado más de 80 libros y obviamente no llega a tener 80 años de edad todavía. Es un sabio, es un visionario, es uno de los grandes líderes y expertos en liderazgo y en Mindfulness que yo he conocido, y la verdad que ha creado un movimiento donde empodera a cientos de miles de otros seres humanos a través de Equipped y sus organizaciones del grupo corporativo John Maxwell. Es uno de los hombres más carismáticos o seres humanos, cuando digo hombre me estoy refiriendo a género humano, más carismáticos que he conocido. Es alguien que tiene una extremada calidez para hacernos sentir en su presencia totalmente cómodos. He tenido el placer de estar en varias oportunidades compartiendo escenarios con él. De hecho, este año fue uno de nuestros grandes invitados a El Negocio de Ser Tú, nuestro seminario de emprendimiento y negocios. Y quiero presentarte una conversación que ha sido privada, es parte de nuestro masterclass con el Círculo de Influencia. Gracias a la generosidad de los miembros del Círculo, vamos a compartir parte de esa conversación con ustedes. Así que no demoro más. Comunícale a tus amigos, a 3 o 4 o 5 de tus seres queridos o colegas, y compárteles esta conversación que sin dudas va a ser extraordinaria con John Maxwell aquí en Demente Positivo. Ahí está. Well, John Maxwell doesn't need introduction because really, for me, John, you are not only a mentor, for me, you are the top world expert on leadership. And it's amazing. It's amazing the work that you have produced. And you are still reinventing yourself. And this is my first question, because you just said it. You are 73. And for so many people, they get to be probably, well, I'm 50. I hear people that are only 60 and they say, well, I'm this way, I can change. And they are just looking more into memories than new dreams and projects. So for you, what's the key to be 73? And I remember that you told me years ago, I think that I will retire. I'm so happy that you changed your mind because we need you. So what is the formula for you to stay passionate and stay so active in life?
Well, Ismail, I'm really glad you asked that question because I'm in the best time of my life. My companies, of course, now with the coronavirus, everything's kind of all messed up, but I'm in my best days. And so let me give you maybe 3 minutes of background, because I think this is very helpful. In fact, I'm one of the books I'm going to write in the future. I always have a whole list of books I'm going to write, so I've written 80. Somebody told me the other day, one of a team, I think 84, 85. But anyway, which is no big deal. You just have to be old to write that many books. But here we go. So what happened was, when I started off very young, I had a mentor of mine who we were having a breakfast, and he asked me, he said, John, what's your plan for your personal development growth? And I didn't have any. And he looked at me and he said, growth, personal development growth, it's not automatic. It just doesn't happen automatically. You have to be intentional if you're going to grow. That just changed my life. And so I said, okay, I've got to get intentional. I've got to develop myself. So I began to avail myself to every, back then, cassette tapes and, just anybody that could teach me, I was ready to listen. And Earl Nightingale, I heard him on a tape say that if you'll spend an hour a day, every day, for 5 years on one subject. At the end of that 5 years, you'll become an expert on that subject. And I was about 26 then. And I was passionate about leadership because I had just come to the conclusion that everything rises and falls on leadership. So it was kind of like, okay, I'm going to do what Earl Nightingale says. I'm going to spend 1 hour a day, every day on the subject of leadership. And I did. And he said in 5 years, you could become an expert on it. So here I go. Every day, I'm talking to leaders, asking questions, reading leadership books, just doing practicing leadership every day. And I kept asking myself during that time, well, how long will it take? Well, Earl Nightingale said 5 years. So as I'm going through this growth time on leadership, I'm saying, okay, I'm doing a countdown, 5, 4, 3, you know what I mean? 5 years, I'll be an expert. Ishmael, about halfway through my 5-year time, something changed within me. I was becoming a new person. I was not only learning things in my mind, but I was beginning to implement them in my life, and my life was beginning to incredibly beautifully transform. And all of a sudden, I realized that I was in this countdown, 5 years to be an expert, and all of a sudden I quit asking. All of a sudden, I quit asking the question, "How long will this take?" Because I was on a 5-year plan. How long will this take? How long will this take? How long will this take? When I began to have this incredible inward change in my life, I went from "How long will this take?" that question to the question I ask now: How far can I go? There is a big difference between those two questions. Now, let me tell you. If a person thinks that there's a finish line in their life, then they're going to ask, how long will this take? Because they're going to a destination. I personally have no finish line in my life. In fact, I'm going to write a book entitled, Is There a Finish Line? And for people that live in a finite world, there's a finish line. And for those who live in an infinite world, there's no finish line at all. So here I am, 73, never expecting to see the finish line, never expecting to have all of my goals achieved, never expecting to get all of my bucket list stuff checked off. There's no finish line for me. And so, because here's what I've learned. If you think there's a finish line and you cross it, and people put superficial finish lines in their life all the time. When I was talking to you, I was putting a superficial retirement finish line in my life because I have all the money I need. I got everything. I don't need anything else. So I don't have to work. I don't have to be on this with you today. Although, by the way, I'm really glad to be with you. You're a beautiful friend. What you do for so many people, you're such a steady voice. I greatly admire you. So when you want me to help you, I always help you. I mean, look how many people you help. But the moment, Ishmael, that I changed from there's a finish line, because if you have a finish line, when you cross it, guess what? You're finished. What part of I'm finished do I not understand? And how many times do you see? And I see good people, great potential, and their life it's on the shelf. And I mean, I love to play golf, but I mean, I've got to have something bigger than knowing what my tee time is today. Come on, I've got to have something beyond that. And so the moment I remove my finish line, now I don't even think of stopping. I just think of growing. And I keep asking myself, how far can I go? How far can I go? My father is 98. He's 98. And up until he was 96, he worked full time. He worked full time, loving every moment. Why? There's no finish line in his life. So I think that once we begin to understand, by the way, I know you have some of your special people with you today. There's a great book you want to get by Simon Sinek called The Infinite Game. I just want to, in fact, I'm going to, if it's okay, I'm just going to recommend a couple books, because whenever I'm with somebody, if I'm with a leader or somebody successful, one of the questions I ask them is what are you reading right now, and why should I read it? And Simon Sinek, who's a very close friend of mine, has written a lot of great books. I think that this one is his best by far. I think it's his number one book, The Infinite Game. And then there's another book that I think you would want and your people would want, and that's by James Clear, called Atomic Habits. And he has studied habits, and he has an institute, I think in Columbus, Ohio, where he's put 10,000 people through his institute, helping them to develop good habits. and it's just it's a phenomenal book. But back to Simon Sinek, the infinite game, and he and I talk about all the time. That's where I am. I think it's an infinite game. I think there is no finish line, and I'm still growing. I'm still learning. And I love to learn. I'm still curious. I'm still asking questions. And you get old people. They quit asking questions a lot of times. They kind of give up. And somebody asked me, I said, "How are you staying so young?" I said, "It's very simple. I'm staying away from old people." But anyway, so anyway, hopefully that no finish line thing helps all of you out there, because and I commend you for being in this. I don't know what it's called, the club or whatever it is that I commend.
Influencers Circle.
Influencers
Circle.
Well, okay, for you that are on it, I just commend you, because I promise you, when I look back at influencers in my life, if somebody said, "Okay, John, tell me what's the most important thing you did to really, succeed," it would be that I surrounded myself and availed myself to many mentors in my life, and I mean people like Ishmael that just they'll take you to a level that you won't go by yourself, and that's a fact. And excuse me, I'm passionate about mentoring and being mentored. And I just did a talk recently on influencers in my life, and the whole talk was the people in my life that influenced me and how they influenced me, what they did for me. And one of the things on mentoring, since we're talking about that for a moment, and then I'll shut up and let you ask some questions. See, what you learn, when people go to a mentor, they're thinking, okay, what will I learn from her? What will I learn from him? Which is very important. But there's a second thing most people don't think about in mentoring that you don't want to miss. And it's not only what am I learning, what will I learn, but I think who mentors you is as important as what they teach you. Because mentoring is very contagious. And when I look at the influencers in my life, Ishmael, the thing that they gave me, maybe more than the knowledge I received from them, was the spirit. There was a spirit, a transference of who they were to who I was. And what I found is the people that mentored me, that made the biggest impression on my life, they were bigger than the subjects they taught me. And John Wooden was one of my mentors, as you know, and for the last 11, 12 years of his life, he mentored me. The first time I went to be with him, I'll never forget. We spent from about 9 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon together. I had 5 pages of questions for him. And we only got through the first page. And so he said, "John, you have to come back in a couple months." And that's what began that relationship. But here's the point. When he walked me to the elevator. He lived in a townhouse. I went down the parking garage, walked out of the parking garage where the guests kind of parked. And I got to my car, and I just had one of those feelings like, turn around. And I turned around, and when I did, I looked up to the balcony where Coach Wooden's lived. And he was standing on the balcony, just watching me. And as soon as I turned, he waved to me and smiled. And okay, the spirit of John Wooden, the presence of John Wooden, the being of John Wooden was as great as anything that he ever taught me. So it's so important in mentoring to get around people that are contagious, and you catch not only the knowledge, but you catch their spirit. So anyway, hopefully that's helpful.
¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo va la conversación? Primera parte de nuestro diálogo con John C. Maxwell. Hago una pausa. En breve seguimos con más en esta edición de Mente Positivo, escuchando parte de lo conversado con Maxwell en una masterclass de nuestro Influencer Circle. Así que busca más información en influencercircle.com. influencercircle.com. Ya vuelvo con más de Mente Positivo.
Nuestro invitado se está convirtiendo en un demente positivo.
En estos próximos 3 días va a haber un entrenamiento técnico, pero al mismo tiempo va a haber otro entrenamiento que es el entrenamiento Mindfulness, el entrenamiento Liderazgo, el entrenamiento Conciencia.
He aprendido no solo las técnicas del maestro, sino también a conocerme, a poder desafiar mis propios límites y poder llegar a ser la comunicadora que quiero ser.
Mi experiencia ha sido realmente fantástica. Ismael Cala es uno de los mejores comunicadores. Me enseñó sobre todo a conectar mi corazón con la audiencia.
Y así llegamos al final de la cuarta promoción de Cala Speaking Academy. 4 días intensos de convivencia, de aprendizaje, de desaprendizaje, pero sobre todo de compartir desde el corazón. ¡Gracias a todos! Nos vemos en el próximo.
Señoras y señores, atención, por favor.
Presta atención. Ismael Cala tiene muchas buenas cosas para contarte. Aquí, en Demente Positivo. Demente Positivo.
Aquí estamos después de esos breves mensajes. Ahí viene la segunda parte en la conversación con John C. Maxwell. Y por favor, presta la atención, toma notas, porque una conversación con Maxwell es una clase magistral. Y literalmente ha sido una de las mejores clases magistrales que hemos podido disfrutar los miembros de esa comunidad que es nuestro Influencer Circle. Ahora un círculo que está reempoderado a través de este año 2020, donde hemos expandido el círculo a diversos niveles o programas de membresía. Así que busca toda la información en influencercircle.com. Ahí está la segunda y última parte de nuestra conversación con John C. Maxwell, el experto número 1 en el mundo en temas de liderazgo.
That's great, John. And believe me, we are here to listen to you. So this is your time. I'm just here, a facilitator. I just want to focus on embracing the benefits of uncertainty, because believe me, the first week out of the normal, the all normal life that we had back in March, I came back from a retreat in Costa Rica, our last event, and my quarantine started. And then what I realized is that it took me a week, John, to be able to process the new reality, the lockdown, the virus, and everything. I was in denial for a week. So I want you to share with us your experience of how we can, walk through difficult times like this one and through crisis, and why uncertainty is a plus in our lives.
That's a great question. And I have been I've been, as you have been, on social media just every day. I think they said I spoke to 1.6 million people in April alone, leaders. And here's what happens, Ishmael. First of all, a crisis. We were all blindsided. By the way, none of us saw this coming. What in the heck is happening? So we're all, even as leaders, we're emotional. And like you said, it took you a week. It took me a time to process this and said, what in the heck is happening to me? But here's what I know. A crisis never leaves us the same. It moves us. It moves us. Every person in America has been moved out of their comfort zone. Every person. Now, when they get out of their comfort zone, they get very nervous and very anxious and very fearful. And their first question is, what's going to happen to me? And uncertainty begins to be a real subject. Now, here's what I want. Here's my first point. Everything that you want that you don't have right now, okay? Everything you want but you don't have, it's outside of your comfort zone. That's why you don't have it. If it was in your comfort zone and you want it, you'd already have it. So all the things that we want, we don't have, is outside of our comfort zone. So it's always good news when we get moved out of our comfort zone. Because now all of a sudden, we are in a place that we probably wouldn't choose if we had a choice. And now all of a sudden, we have to, instead of being automatic, we have to get creative. Because what happens in our comfort zone, we all automatic is why people like a comfort zone, because they just go through it automatically. They don't have to think about it. It just happens. It's just natural. It's who they are. But automatic is a horrible thing in a person's life. Horrible thing. Because when I'm on automatic, I'm not creative. When I'm on automatic, I'm not stretching. When I'm automatic, I'm not asking good questions. When I'm on, so automatic is full of assumptions. Horrible. That's why I tell and encourage people to live what I call an intentional life. An intentional life is totally opposite of an automatic life. An intentional life means I have to stay in the game mentally, spiritually, physically, in every area. I've got to every day stay in the game. And that's why I also teach Ishmael that, as I do this all the time, I put my hand up in the air like this, and I say, everything worthwhile is uphill. Everything. There's nothing in my life or your life or everybody watching us right now, there's nothing in your life that's very special, precious, valuable to you. Nothing in your life that's not uphill. All your dreams are uphill. I never heard somebody say, you know what? My dream was downhill. Oh my gosh, I got this dream and I just coasted. I didn't have to do one thing. I just thought, well, I'll just automatically get there. And I did. After 2 years, I automatically didn't work for it, didn't try. Was kind of surprised. No. Everything worthwhile is uphill. That's why you have to be intentional. Well, COVID-19 is all uphill. In fact, I sometimes teach that there are no 2 good consecutive days in a leader's life. There just aren't, because if you're leading people's like, herding cats. Okay. It's not easy. So in a normal routine, everything worthwhile is uphill. Here's the difference between normal and COVID-19. This is what normal looks like. It's just uphill every day. But the moment we get to the coronavirus, the hill becomes like a mountain. It just goes like this. So right now we're living here. We're using here. But so now visually we're having to climb. And one of the things I discovered was that the higher the mountain, the more help you need. On a regular hill, I can just put on my gym shoes and I can get to the top. But if you're going to go climb Mount Everest, you got to have, you don't climb that. Nobody's ever got to the top of that mountain by themselves. The big stuff takes teamwork, and it takes creativity, and it takes a real sense of cooperation together. So here's what I know. I'm still uncertain about a lot of things. People ask me every day, well, John, when's this going to be over? I don't have a clue. Nobody has a clue. I'm okay with uncertain. In fact, anybody that tells you that they are certain right now, you need to send them to a therapist real quick. They've got real issues in their life. They need to get on the couch and have somebody really help them. So there's a lot of uncertainty. But here's the difference. In fact, I tell people, I say, I don't know when the virus is going to get over. I don't even know the extent of the damage yet. I mean, I've got 7 companies, and we're losing millions of dollars. So I got this. It's not an easy time. Now, here's what we got to do. Uncertain? I'm uncertain. But I am clear. You see, here's your issue. When a leader is unclear, they're in trouble. Because people follow leadership for clarity. And so I tell the people all the time, I'm uncertain about the virus, but I'm very clear on what I'm to do. And what I'm teaching people to do right now is focus on today. So many times we're so worried about tomorrow that we use all of our energy there instead of using our energy in the moment and right now. And this is an incredible time for me. I mean, because of this virus, I'm physically doing better than I ever have done before because I have some time. So I did a half marathon 2 days ago, and I'm physically. I mean, I'm home. I don't have to travel. You know what travel does to the body. So I'm getting rest. I'm getting exercise. I'm eating good. I'm becoming very creative and technology and ways to. I just did a thing I'm getting ready to do a thing for Vietnam, a whole conference for them online. So what happens is take the movement. The virus has moved everybody. The question is not, have we been moved? Everybody's moved out of their comfort zone. Here's the question. Not, are we different? Have we had change? That's not the question. The question is, has the virus moved us? Have we, in that virus, in this uncertainty, have we moved forward or have we let it push us backward? So we're all moving. It's just some movement is positive and some movement is negative. And what a leader does at this stage of their life is, in this crisis, is I make sure that every day that my movement is forward, that I'm doing something today. Okay, I had a leader, a big leader, huge leader. Oh my gosh, he's got about 150, 160,000 people under his leadership. Big leader. So we were on a call and I mentor him, and he asked me, he said, John, he said, talk to me about, the future. I said, no. I said, let me talk to you about the present. I said, what you need to work on is what you are to be more than what you're trying to see. Because I can work on the being right now. I can work on me right now. See, today I'm either preparing and setting myself up for whatever happens tomorrow, or I'm not preparing. And, I'm watching too many movies and eating too much food and wasting my time. Now, hang on. You see, if I'm not making the most and the best of today, what happens is, if I don't prepare today, guess what I do tomorrow? I repair. When you don't prepare, you repair. So if I don't prepare today, what I do tomorrow, I go fix what I didn't do yesterday, because you got to get it fixed. So you're either preparing, which means you're moving forward during the crisis, or you're going to do an amazing amount of repairing, because you're letting the crisis put you into what I call a negative flow, which is not going to make you a better person. So I think right now I'm working on being the person that I should be. So as the future unfolds, I can do the things I need to do. But being really precedes doing. And so you got to work on now, work on the present.
Unbelievable. I love that phrase. When you prepare today, you will need to repair tomorrow. That's unbelievable. And actually, one of the other things that on the podcast, I listen to your podcast every single week, and I loved that you said that the crisis, the uncertainty, reintroduces us to humility. Yes, and I love that, because it's true. We have to become humble in the middle of a crisis and with uncertainty for the future. Thank you so much, John. Please, everybody, let's do our silent applause to John C. Maxwell. Thank you, John. See you soon.
God bless.
Say hi to Chad, to Mark, the entire team.
Yeah, they respect you so much. They love working with you. Let's keep doing stuff together, okay?
Yes.
John, thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you. Bye-bye.
¿Qué tal? Yo espero que ustedes hayan tomado muchísimas notas en esta conversación con John C. Maxwell, como las que he tomado yo. Siempre es un placer escucharle y hoy poder llamarle amigo. Gracias por la sintonía o por vernos a través de nuestro canal de YouTube. Soy Ismael Cala, calando fuerte en tu corazón, y espero que de Mente Positivo te ayude, porque para eso estamos aquí, para que no te vuelvas loco. Aquí reprogramamos tu coco. Es nutrición para el alma, para la mente, para el cerebro, para el cuerpo. Hasta el próximo episodio de Mente Positivo. Dios es amor. Hágase el milagro. Hasta la próxima.
Para que no te vuelvas loco, aquí
reprogramamos el coco.
¿Quieres? De Mente Positivo.